Hello, welcome to the Stick Tap Sports Network. Just wanted to do something a little bit different today, and that is going to be what we're going to be doing is a review of Pocket Pennant Run. I was This question came about on a comment that I had on a comment I received on the 1976 replay I'm doing using multiple game engines, and so I thought the question was along the lines of what were my what was my perspective or opinions of the various games that I've been playing as part of that replay, and what are the things I liked, what are the things maybe I didn't like. So in this regard, what I'm going to do is I thought it would be great to do a review of Pocket Pennant Run. I'm going to wind up doing a few others um, in the coming weeks. We'll do a Status Pro, um, also a pocket pennant. I'm sorry, payoff pitch, and I think other parts of that replay are also national pastime, next generation, digital diamond, and I think that's it. But so yeah, why don't we go ahead and get started then? So um, here's what I'll be covering in this review. One is the things that I think make this game unique. Also, I think the areas where it misses the mark, so to speak, and then also cover just kind of how it plays, so you can see some of the inner workings in case you haven't um, seen this game in action or played it yourself. Um, find that I read people online that talk about it, and you have people that love it and people that just don't get it. So, and that's all understandable. Hey, we're all different, right? So, um, one of the first things I wanted to mention about this game is I feel it does a great job of really stripping the game down to from a sim standpoint. It does a great job of stripping it down to its core mechanics. Um, there's not it's not a game where you're going to be um, doing multiple dice rolls and looking up charts and things like that. Um, so I think it does a great job of that. It also comes with the Pocket Pen and Run Manager software, which is really an incredible value that is thrown in. I ordered this game for $15. I got the PDF version of it. Um, that PDF is basically the some team cards, um, rules, and the play cards, right? Um, and we'll take a look at those in a minute. But so that's what the PDF is, that's what the PDF version comes with, right? And you can be playing baseball in a matter of minutes as long as you have three 12-sided dice that you can roll alongside it. Um, but that manager software that it comes with is pretty amazing. And we'll take a look at that in a little bit. Um, what I really enjoyed where I use it is gaining access to the database that they have for all of the cards, either individual player cards or team cards that are in their database. Um, so yeah, I think a value standpoint, this game is hard to beat. Um, I think that another one that's a tremendous value that I love playing too and use it as a board game companion is Digital Diamond. So so both these games, but this game is it's amazing what you get for as little as $15. I think if you buy the game itself, it's 25, but you also get the software as well. So this what it can have you doing in a short period of time is pretty amazing. So I'm going to do a little bit of a demo in a bit, but I wanted to just kind of cover the flow and simplicity of the game. As I mentioned before, it's a game that does not get bogged down in dice rolls and chart lookups. That can be a real detraction from you know playing a game that just flows really well. Um, I I would kind of throw like an APA or or national pastime into those games where you're looking at charts. The Status Pro has a little bit of that when you need to look at base running situations or rare play charts, things like that. Um, Also like strategy related stuff. So so in that regard, it's something that's just great as far as knowing like from the cards that you're playing with, you're going to know what the result of the play is. Once you get the rules and the instructions down and understand what the various result readings on cards moves really Also, especially for like people that are into playing, doing full season replays or historical replays, you get uh, you get every player and pitcher carded and rated in this game. So it's pretty cool feature. And as I said, a great value. The rating system that it uses is pretty simple too. It's not too many things to be familiarized with. Um, the different categories for a pitcher and for a batter are simple A through D ratings. So so yes, as I said, very easy to understand. A very easy to understand game and one that has you rolling dice and getting results rather quick. So I'm going to pull up a few things here so we can do a demo and show you kind of what I've done with I've integrated Pocket Pennant Run and Digital Diamond for my replay. So here is the here's Digital Diamond, and also what I've done here is I imported the player ratings information from Pocket Pen and Run into Digital Diamond. So how I play this game is I do have the ratings listed on the players, relevant to what their role is on the field at the moment. So uh, as you can see, we've got all the relevant pitcher ratings for Doyle Alexander, his stamina rating, also his pitching rating, followed by his control rating, followed by his defensive rating. Um, all the fielders, I've listed their defensive ratings. Um, as for the batter, you're looking at the relevant, offensive rating. So you've got batting rating, followed by power, followed by speed. So that's what I've done there. And taking a look at and so what I've done, and like I said before, is you can either print up player cards or you can print up team cards. Um, what I've done, and I'll show you here, is first off, um, when you go to the Pocket Pennant Run Manager, let me pull that up here. So here is the Pocket Pennant Run Manager, and so a lot going on here. Um, it's it's a bit there's a lot going on here when it comes to this software. Um, but the things that it can do are pretty amazing and really cool. But where I kind of focus on things because I like to play this game more as a kind of a cards and dice type of thing. Although I don't actually roll dice, I use like an online, I use the ball roller software and if I'm playing cards, I actually have like JPEGs of the cards that I'll be reading from. Um, but in this case, what I what I've done is to get cards and things that I'm going to show you here is you can either do a print season team or player cards or print selected team or player cards. Um, what happens is at this point you can select a league, and this is going to show you a little bit of the databases that you have available to you. And as I said, this is a pretty extensive selection. Um, you've got Major League Baseball from 1920 to 2024. You've got historical MLB from 1871 to 1919. You've got Negro League Baseball. You've got the Women's Professional Baseball League. You've got AAA minor leagues from 2000 to 2024, NCAA season. You've got Japanese baseball and Korean baseball. Um, So pretty extensive database of teams that you can select from. So what all you would do is you'd select your which library you want to go with, input your year, and then you can either print season player cards, season team cards, or you can create an Excel work. So I'm not going to print this right now, but just kind of showing you how that works. So you just select it. What I did was for the 1976 season that I did create my own database. Or I'm sorry, not my own database, my own data file that I imported into Digital Diamond. Those were the ratings that you saw a short while ago. Um, I've I'm going to show you this the spreadsheet I'm doing for another kind of tournament that I'm using Pocket Pennant Run with. And these are just teams from the early 20th century that I thought would be fun to tournament with. So yeah, this is the Excel spreadsheet. So basically what I've done is I've done some formulas that allow me to take the data, I just copy and paste it, and then I use features or functions like formulas like concatenate or whatever to condense the information and then import it into Digital Diamond, so I can refer to it on the field as I showed you a moment ago. So this is one way. So you can do individual teams like I did here, or you can do an entire season of teams, um, and you can download it as a Excel spreadsheet, or you can do. Let's see here. You can do cards. So in this case, I'm just going to pull up the 1931 team cards. So here you go. So these are teams from 1931. These are the batter cards. So as we talked about earlier, you have ratings for each player. So the Boston Braves, Wally Burger here. He's an A-rated batter. He's got A rating for power. He's got A rating for speed, and he's B rated for defense. So once again, these are the numbers as I showed you earlier that correspond to the players on the field that I was showing you on Digital Diamond. So that's the information that I will reference as I get dice rolls and I look at the result cards that you will see in a moment. But this would be a player team card. So this or a team. This is a yeah. So this is a team card with the individual players listed on it. It tells you what type of park they played in. Was it a pitcher's park? Was it a hitter's park? Yeah, the only other rating is a neutral park. Um, and those will have effects on the. They can have effects on situations during the game, field ratings or ballpark ratings. So so that's what a team card looks like. And then there's also let me see if I can pull it up here. There's also player cards. So let's take a look at the 27 player cards. So here's the Yankees. Just make this larger so you can see better. Um, so let's say there's Lou Gehrig. Hey, Lou Gehrig. Um, So this is what a player's card. So this is another thing that you could, if you didn't want to do the team card, you'd rather do individual player cards, you can create a PDF of the player cards, print it, cut it, and you can be playing using cards. So this is another option. Once again, all of those databases that I showed you, this is what you can. This is the result. You can create PDFs and then print them. Do the same thing with the cards, right? So that's this is what gives you access as a Pocket Pen and Run player. This gives you access to all of the seasons that they have available to them. You can't order them pre-cut, or yeah, you can't order pre-cut cards, or so this is how you would go about doing. So that is that. Go back to the so this was as I mentioned, how you print team cards or Excel workbook. One of the things that are really cool about this software, before we get into that play, is that you can do season replays. You can also do play random games from the past. You could just simply say, let me see. So let's say you just want to play a game, a one-off, and you can go, oh, I'm going to have AI, pick the date, and it does, and you can then go, okay, well, we're looking at April 28th, 1936. These are all the games that you can play, and you can choose any one of them. So let's go. How about the Reds and the Boston Bees? And you hit print play. And you now have the ability to you can save the lineups to a Green Fox spreadsheet. You can play the game on the computer. You can print. You can create a score sheet that has the player's name and all the information in it. You can print that, or you can play. Say, I want to play the game, and like Digital Diamond, for example, as a board game companion, you can use this as a board game companion. It also even gives you the ability to have, you know, the dice for APA as part of that. So you can be rolling the dice here and and recording your results as you play. So you would just go 26. Let's say that was a strikeout. Then you would just go select out, KO. Now the second batter's up. So you can provided that you have the cards for APA, you could do that. This is not. This is, like I said, just a board game companion. It has the dice, so you can roll the games. So if you wanted to use this to compile statistics as you're playing an APA season, you can do that. Give you your lineups, and so it's a pretty cool little feature that they've added here. I'm going to close this. Just close the game. So yeah, that's kind of a cool feature that it has. If you want to just do a random game from the past, or you can choose a game that you want to play. It could be an all-star game from the past or a World Series. Um, it's all in here. It's all in the database. So pretty cool feature. I think that's about it. I showed you briefly what the interface for a game looks like. You could play Pocket Pennant Run on the computer using this software. The computer will roll the dice for you. You record the results, and you could play the game that way if you choose. That's not the way I choose to play the game. So let's see here. So here are the cards. We talked about the ratings for the players. Um, so why don't we go ahead and play a little bit, and uh, and let's use here on Digital Diamond. We're going to have Doyle Alexander facing Mark Wagner. I've set up here the Detroit Tigers and the New York Yankees. It's an exhibition game from my 1976 season. And so let's see. So Alexander's a B pitcher. He's going up against Mark Wagner, who is a B batter. So you roll the dice. The first die is the red 11. Take a look in the B column, find what 11 is. 11 is batter. So that means we're going to be looking at the batters. Wagner, as I said, is a B-rated batter. So you'll see also that they're color coded. Red pitcher, batter card, control. These are yellow. So that means you use the corresponding dice to get the reading. So in this case, a B batter is going to be a ground ball to shortstop, and that'll be the first out. But just take a look at that though for a moment. So G6, DP, and an exclamation point. So what would happen is if, let's say that if there was a runner on first, it'd be a potential double play, right? So what that means is the runner's going to be forced at second. The, the exclamation point means that the batter has the opportunity of beating out the throw to first. So what you would have done is taken a look at the blue, which is a 6, and you just go across here. 6 is O means out. That means that the batter would not have beaten the throw, so it would have been a double play. So, so that's how that would work. Now the next batter with one out is going to be Alex Johnson. So Alex Johnson comes to the plate. Pitch is going to be off the pitcher's column B, defense. So this means that you're going to look at defense here. In the pitcher's card, you see A, B, C, D, defense. And you're going to look at the number, the yellow, which is 3. Now, this is going to correspond to the number of the fielder, right? So pitcher's 1, catcher's 2, first base is 3. So 1 through 9 is going to be your pitcher through right field. And then if it's a 10, 11, or 12, it's going to be 10 for second base, 11 to the shortstop, 12 to center field. This means you're going to be checking the rating of that player, fielding rating. So as you saw, Digital Diamond, okay. So so the rating for the first baseman is going to be Chris Chambliss. A. He's an A-rated fielder. So you're going to take a look at the defensive play here. That's the rating. Dice roll is a 9. So that's going to be a G dot. Now what that means is that's just going to be a ground ball to the first baseman, to the bag, and that's 2 outs. The dot does mean that the runner, if there were runners on base, they would advance. So means that the only play would be to first base. So if there was a runner on second, he would go to third. If there was a runner at third, he would score. Um, or on second, or on first would go to second. So that's how that would work. So now Rusty Staub comes to bat. So Rusty Staub, pitch off of Alexander's card. He's a B, right? So 8 is going to be off the batter's card. Rusty Staub is an A batter. Roll is going to be a 3, so that's going to be a fly ball to left field. And that's going to end the top half of the first inning. So we'll take a look at the Yankees. They'll get to come to bat with Ray Bear pitching. He's a C-rated pitcher. And Carlos May, a B-rated batter. So here's the pitch. So it's going to be defense again. So defense 10. Now that's your second baseman, right? Yes, it is. He's a defensive rating of a C. The roll is a 10, and that's going to be. I got the wrong chart here. We're looking at dead ball error. That was wrong. So, but so that's kind of cool to point out that there are 2 charts. There's a dead ball era chart, which you're looking at. modern era. You'll, the difference is going to be this: is that defensive plays are there's going to be a lot less defense plays made in defense. There'll be a lot more errors, as well as a lot less home runs. So, sorry about that. Let me pull up the correct chart here. Okay. So let's see. So Ray Bear, right? He pitches defense. So we're checking Garcia's defense. Garcia's a C. 10 is going to be a base hit. So basically what that's saying is that Garcia just didn't have the range to field that ball, and it'll go into right field for a base hit. So that means Carlos May. So Carlos May is on first, and there is nobody out. Thurman Munson's coming to bat. So let's go ahead and see what happens here. First, Munson at bat. So C. So now we're going to look at control. So C, under the C column, number two, or the role of two, means control. So now we're looking at the pitcher's control rating. And if you look at the control card here, you'll see that an A control batter pitcher is better than B, who's better than C, who's better than D. And you'll see that pitchers with A control tend to get a lot of strikeouts or have an opportunity to get more strikeouts. And it just goes down less with walks increasing as you get a lower rating. So in this case, there is a C control pitcher. The 7 is going to be a walk. So he walks Munson. That'll bring up White. So runners on first and second, and White is a B batter. So C pitcher. It's going to be defense again. So in this case, defense 6. That's shortstop. Wagner, who's a D-rated shortstop. This is not going to be. Role is an 11. That's going to be it's one base. So E6. The Yankees really got something going here, right? Bases loaded. Mickey Rivers coming to bat. And let's see what Rivers is going to do. Pitch to Rivers is 10. Rivers is an A batter. Bear is a C. So it's going to be off the batter's card. He's an A-rated batter. So it's going to be a ground ball to third, double play, exclamation point. So that means, and let me pull up the rules real quick because I want to see what I have I have a chart that I have on a spreadsheet that I use as kind of a helper. But in this case, um, it's going to be runner at first and batter are out for a double play, right? Right. Okay, but there's that exclamation point. So what that means then is that we take a look at Rivers' speed. He's an A runner. The blue roll is a 6. Excuse me. So we take a look at the exclamation point column here on base running. 6 is going to be out. So that is going to be a 5-4-3 double play. May will score. Munson will go to third. And Nettles is coming up. Now, there are some other things that features of the game that make it interesting. Pull up. So for the Yankees, or for the Tigers, let's say, um, see this manager under strategy play, you have manager, right? So this is kind of its own way of helping with solo replayers. Um, if you're in a situation where it's like, well, what, you know, should I pull the pitcher? Should I sacrifice bunt? Should I intentionally walk? Should I, forgetting what the other options are, or go to the bullpen, right? Or steal a base. So in this case, let's say the rating for the Detroit manager, and I'm sorry, I don't know who the manager was that year for the Tigers. Um, he is rated as a C across the board on all four of those managerial decisions. Stolen base, sacrifice, intentional walk. In this case, let's see what the game would say. Um, I know it's only the first inning, but you got a runner on third, lefty coming up, but still the manager's like noting that Bear might be tired. And so you can roll the dice and find out, well, do you want to take him out? And would the manager take him out when faced with that situation? So being that his going to a relief pitcher, he's rated as a C, that means he's probably, he's reluctant to go to the bullpen. You can roll the dice and see if that's the case. You look under strategy play under here, where it says manager, and you roll the dice, and let's just say it's the blue die number here. So let's roll it. It's a one, and it's no. He's not going to lift the pitcher. So let's go ahead and resolve the play. So Bear facing Greg Nettles. There's a C pitcher. C pitcher is a four. That's defense again. This time it's going to be the center fielder, LaFleur, right? Yep, because the roll's an eight. That's center field. And you take a look at defensive roles at two, floor is at C, and that's just listed as F. And this is where you'll see like where that slash is. That before the slash is infielders, after the slash is going to be fielders. So in this case, it's a fly out to center field, and the inning would be over. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of how the flow of the game goes. I'm gonna take a look at and show you some of these things here with on the play cards, right? So just kind of give a better understanding of how they work. Some of the, like for example, like ballpark effect, right? In this case, Yankee Stadium is a eh, wrong one. Yankee Stadium is a pitcher's park. Yes, it is. So in that case, let's say for example, a batter's up. He's an A batter. You roll a 12, and it says park. That means that you're going to look at the wherever you're playing. In this case, like I said, it's a pitcher's park. That means that the next thing you're going to look at is going to be power and the power roll and rating. So if a, if it's at a pitcher's park and that park comes up, that means then that you're going to downgrade the batter. If it's in a pitcher park, it's a downgrade of one. So an A becomes a B, right? If it was neutral, it just means you do a straight check of power, no adjustments are made. If you're in a hitter's park, that means the power rating is upgraded by one. Now, if you're an A or D, you can't go above A, right? So you just stay in A. But if you're a B batter and you're in a hitter's park, and the park rating comes up, you now become an A batter or an A power. Um, D becomes a C, and vice versa. If it's in a pitcher's park, an A becomes a B, B becomes a C, C becomes a D, D stays the same, stays a D. So that's how that's how the ballpark effect can come into play. It just affects the power rating. So so that's that. On the control side of things for pitchers, you'll see that, I mentioned before, A control means a lot more strikeouts. As you get lower in rating, you're going to find that more hit batters. You've got opportunities for wild pitches and more walks. Really, it's more walks. Is what it becomes walks and hit batters, especially for a D pitcher. Let's see here. Off the batter card, you're only going to get singles, and this is where also you get is it a ground out? Is it a fly out? Is the person going to tag up? Is it an automatic tag if there's a runner on third? There's a number of things that take place there. Just when you see a question mark, it means that's basically like a manager's choice. If you want to tag, you can tag. Um, if it says F9/T, that's an automatic. Runner on second goes to third, runner on third will score. Um, Dots is the number of bases, if there's a runner on base, how many they will advance. Is it a single and the runner advances two bases? Well, you'd have one B with two dots. Um, on power, this is where extra base hits come into play. You've got doubles, ground rule doubles. Uh, there's no triples that I'm seeing here, but you do have the option of stretching a double into a triple. And that's where like or double plus eight. That means that it's hit the center, and if you're going to try to gain that extra base, you would take a look at the base running play. And if you're a B runner, for example, and you rolled an eight, two base plus eight, you would roll the dice, right? It's a four. He's going to try to stretch it to triple. In this case, you would look on the B column, four out C. What that means is like if the fielder that it's hit to, the center fielder in this case, has a C rating. And if we looked at Mickey Rivers, he's a B. An example game I was doing. That means he would throw out the runner trying to stretch from second into or double into a triple. So that's how that would play out. Um, okay. Um, A batters or A power batters have, they're going to hit more home runs than a B, than a C, than a D. Let's see here. So I think as far as like the cards, that's kind of I think we've covered just about everything on that. I mentioned the manager under the strategy play. Um, you've got sacrifice bunting, you got squeeze play, you've got hit and run, and and you've also got rare plays here. Um, Looking at rare plays really quickly, you'll see that these only come up when you roll all three dice would be the same number. That's the only time you'll consult rare play. Now, if it was all tens, then you take a look at the corresponding number here and you read across. And depending upon if it's a bases empty situation or a runner on base, if it was runner on base, it'd be a balk. If it was no bases empty, then it's a triple with the potential to extend that for an inside the park home run. So that's what that would be. Um, so there's opportunities to have a catcher's interference, a rundown, runner hit by a batted ball, runner being thrown out at first from right field, runner getting picked off, or even runner's interference. Um, so those are the rare plays. From a strategy play, as I mentioned, there is no bunt rating for any of the batters, and this is kind of where I'm going to go into some of the I think probably the biggest negative feedback of this game that you're going to get is going to be in some cases the lack of nuance when it comes to individual players and their cards. So in this case, um, taking a look at, like I mentioned, sacrifice bunting, there is no bunt rating for batters, so they're all the same type of bunter. If you choose to bunt for with an A batter, a B batter, a C batter, or a D batter. Um, Squeeze plays, um, it is limited to the runner on third has to have a speed rating of an A or B in order for you to even attempt to execute a squeeze play. For hit and run, there has to be I think it's one out or less, and runner on first. Yes, runner on first, A or B batter. And how that works is, and this is kind of a cool little thing with hit and run, is you would roll the dice, right? And you would take a look at the first number you use is 11. So that's going to be the column or the number you're going to use. So you have hit and run, right? And you have a result and then a slash and then another result. And what works or how this works then is that you then got to take a look at the base runner. And if the base runner is, let's just say the base runner is an A rated runner, then you use this blue die roll, which is a 6, and you would take a look at the base running play. And if the base running play indicates that he was safe or even reaches, or let's say it's an error here, then what happens is you use the rating or the reading before the slash. So that means that it was a single and the runner advances 2 bases. If it was a 5, it was a ground to second, and the runner advances to second. If it was a strikeout, the batter strikes out, but the runner steals second base. If the reading was something like, let's see, for like a B runner, if it was a 5 and it says out B, that means then that you're going to take a look at the batter's run rating. And if he's a B or an A, that means he was going to be safe. If he's a C rated runner, then he would be out. And then you read the second half, the second result. In that place, if it was a strikeout roll of number 3, strikeout double play. That means the runner was thrown out trying to steal. So that's how that works. And so it's fairly simple. Once you get used to it, it's really easy to understand. Um, I had mentioned some of the criticisms of the game. Um, I wanted to pull up. Let's see here. Let's look at some of these players, right? So if we look at Babe Ruth and Earl Combs, right? Now Earl Combs, he played in 152 games, as did Babe Ruth. He has 648 at bats to 540. So as a batter, Earl Combs is rated as an A batter, and he's also a power. And if you look at the batter cards, they're identical for batting, batting, and then LR, which means there's an opportunity. I should have pointed this out earlier. There is an opportunity that if you have a batter or a pitcher who's right-handed and a batter who's right-handed, and that comes up on a pitcher's card, pitching card. Let's say for a B batter or a B pitcher, he rolls a 6, and in this case, let's say it was Doyle Alexander facing Ron LaFleur, and Ron LaFleur is a batter. He then gets downgraded to a B. If he was a B, he gets downgraded to a C. If he's a C, he gets downgraded to a D. Um, that's when this rule comes up, and the pitcher and batter are same-handed. Now, if the batter was left-handed and the pitcher's right-handed, or a left-handed pitcher, right-handed batter, then it doesn't come into play. You just ignore it and you go straight to the regular batter reading. So, so that's how that works when that comes up. Now, jumping back to this this card here or these cards, this is where there's a lot of kind of disconnect for people, and they go, "Oh, I'm so sure about this game." Is is that the batter card for Combs and Ruth is the same. So even though Earl Combs hit 6 home runs and Ruth hit 60, chances are that these guys with equal playing time could wind up with the same amount of home runs. So, um, so that is one of those things that definitely gets people to say, well, I'm not going to play this game. Um, let's see here. Tony Lazzari, he's an A power um, batter, but he's a B batter, so he's probably going to have a little less success. I'm not sure about that Earl Combs card. This is interesting. I'm going to go to here. Where is Combs? No, he is rated A across the board. Interesting. So, yeah, so that's kind of something that I think that's one of the negatives of the game, I would say for sure. Um, jump to this. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So we did a bit of demo play and also talked about that, that manager, the manager card, which I think does add an interesting little bit of AI to the mix. It's not real sophisticated, but if you find yourself in a situation where you're thinking, well, would I pull this batter or I'm sorry, would I walk this batter or would I go to the bullpen or would I steal a base? Would I sacrifice? It's one way to take it out of your hands and put it into the tendencies of that manager. So it's kind of a cool little feature. I like it. I like it. So with that being said, I wanted to just wrap it up with some final thoughts. First thing is I will say that it's a game that's not going to replace um, any of the other Sims that I play primarily in my replays, which would be like Pocket Pennant Run and Status Pro. Those are two games that I really enjoy playing a lot. But it does offer a nice break from those, especially during a long replay, and it does. It is a quick game, and I can get a game in. If it's late at night, I want to get a game in on the schedule. I'll pull this game out and play it. In fact, I've been playing it for the past week's worth of games, just to kind of get through the season. It's good for the dog days of August, and that's where my replay is. It's in the latter part of August. Um, I think as a one-off game, as a game where you can, as I said, like on the computer, if you wanted to pull up a game from the past and print off the team cards or the player cards and play that game, it's a it's a nice way to get lean, fast, game deliver. I should just say what I wrote on the bullet point. It's a lean, fast. It's lean, it's fast, and it delivers a satisfying baseball experience. And it does. It really does. Um, I think it's a great point for an entry point for newcomers to baseball sims. Um, much like for many of us who have been in the hobby for a while, there were there were games that kind of proved to be that for us. For me, it was probably the Catacomb All-Star baseball game with the spinner. Um, that got me into Superstar Baseball, the Avalon Hill Superstar Baseball game, which then got me into Status Pro, which then led to APBA, and and kind of the rest is history, right? Um, I will say that, as I said, it's great. I think for me, it's great to add to a season replay. Um, I might try a replay with it just to kind of see how it nets out. I probably would play one team and or maybe random games and let some other platform like Digital Diamond do the other games, and then just kind of see how things net out. Um, I I've heard the complaints. I get it. It's not for everyone. I think from that standpoint, as kind of some of the things I pointed out with the individual cards, they're they they do lack granularity, and also, there's not a lot of individuality for cards, especially for cards of players who are of similar ilk, um, or even broader based similar, tendencies. Um, I'll wrap it up with by saying that I think that this is a unique game. I think it's got a place in in the hobby for sure. I enjoy it as I've mentioned before, um, and I like its I like the simplicity, and um, I know that on the software side of things, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of additions being made. There's there's kind of this I don't want to say it's like have it do everything, um, which is fine, I guess, for the software. But I really hope that the game, the cards and dice game, maintains its integrity because it is, as I said, it kind of occupies a special place in the hobby, and it would be unfortunate if that changed too much. I don't think that's in the offing. I think it's going to stay the same. Um, might add a little bit of texture to some of the cards, or the ratings. I've heard about, there being potentially between A and a B, there might be a minus or a B plus, that kind of thing, where a player, kind of when you use the decider roll in some of the other games out there, right, where B becomes an A, the decider roll is on. Um, So that's a possibility, which I think could add a little more, would add actually a fair amount more individuality, uh, and might make it more appealing to more players out there. But we'll have to wait and see. But with that being said, as I said, I do like this game. I think it's a great game. I think it's got its place, and with that, I'm going to end this. So thank you for hanging out. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. Also, please do hit like and subscribe, and I look forward to chatting with you the next time. Thanks. Bye.